With the dawn 3 weeks ago of a new season and the birth of a new Indy Lights era came new faces. And from start to finish in the first 2 rounds of the Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires, one new face shone above the rest. Turning its first laps in anger in Indy Lights, Carlin Racing and driver Ed Jones propelled the new Dallara IL-15 to the top in every session on the winding streets of St. Petersburg, including 2 poles and 2 race wins. The new now meets the old. For a 20th time, the Indy Lights Series will do battle on the historic waterfront streets of Long Beach, California, a place where winds and lights have often led to the dream of IndyCar. Who will be next? The Long Beach Grand Prix for Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires is coming up. For the 41st time, the streets of Long Beach have been transformed into a world-class racing facility to host open-wheel racing, and once again, Indy Lights is a part of the show. Welcome to the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. We are 90 minutes away from the green flag for the Verizon IndyCar Series, but up first, it's Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires. I'm Kevin Lee, along with former Indy Lights driver Anders Krohn. Well, outside of the Indianapolis 500, this is the biggest event of the IndyCar season, no matter what category you're talking about. Why?
Well, it's really quite simple. Just look at the history of this event. James Hinchcliffe, Scott Dixon, Elio Castroneves have all won this Indy Lights race before, and these guys want to be the next superstars.
In the opening weekend last month at St. Petersburg, Carlin Racing dominated, and we thought they might take the entire season, but apparently that's not necessarily the case.
Not at all. Look at this. Jack Harvey, who finished second in the championship last year, snatches the pole on the last lap. Spencer Pigot and Kyle Kaiser right there along with Ed Jones.
So the field is shaken up a little bit today, and we are in line to see a fantastic race. For more, let's get down to the grid and check in with Katie Hargett.
Jack Harvey with Schmidt-Peterson Racing is sitting on the pole for the first time in 2015. Jack, you didn't get your first pole until Mid-Ohio late in the season last year. Is this the quick start that you said you needed?
Absolutely. I think last year we noticed that Gary was very strong in the first half of the season, and it's not necessarily that we weren't good, it's just we weren't quick enough. So, yeah, it seems like we've been working on some of them issues over the winter, and even from St. Petersburg, we had 2 great results, 2 second places, but you know, we've come to win, and hopefully this weekend we've put ourselves in a good position to do that by starting on the pole.
You absolutely blistered the track record by nearly a second yesterday as time expired and knocked Spencer off the pole. What was it that made the difference that last lap?
I think you get a bit of clear traffic like we spoke about yesterday, and it's not necessarily what it does to the car, it's more I think what it does to you, especially on a street circuit. It's so easy to get stuck in someone else's rhythm. I was confident we had the speed. On the first run in qualifying yesterday, we were quickest, so I knew the car was good. And after St. Pete, I said I had total belief in my team. I knew we'd come here and be competitive, and it looked dramatic, and it probably was. I mean, the team came on the radio and was like, look, you're P6 unless you don't improve. So, I mean, that's a pretty clear message and direction to try and aim. And, yeah, in the end, I managed to get the pole, and it was a great result for the whole team.
All right, Kevin and Anders, fans are filing here into the sunny streets of Long Beach.
And there will be a lot of them. It's been packed all weekend. It's a fantastic weekend. And it's the second weekend of the season, but the third race. So here's how the points line up right now. Ed Jones swept the 2 races at St. Petersburg. In fact, the podium was the same in both races. So Harvey with an opportunity to pounce coming up today. Spencer Pigot also with a great starting position. Scott Hargrove is not here today, hoping to be back soon with 8-Star Motorsports. Let's learn more now about Ed Jones, who swept that doubleheader, the young racer for Carlin.
I was born in Dubai, British parents, I'm a British passport holder. But for me, Dubai is really my home because I've lived there pretty much my whole life, up until last month where I moved to Miami. So for me, I started go-karting there when I was 5 in Jebel Ali, which is close to Dubai. Even in the karting, I only really went into European karting when I was 14, so it's quite a late start in comparison to a lot of the other drivers that I'm competing against. And it was a bit surprising we went there. We weren't expecting much. we did a lot better than we thought we would do.
In 2006, Ed claimed the National United Arab Emirates Karting Championship, and 6 additional karting titles came before his move to cars in 2011 with the Formula BMW Interstep Series, where he finished 4th in his debut season. Formula Renault was next in 2012, followed by a championship-winning season in European Formula 3 Open in 2013.
And that was the year where everything clicked for me. A lot of drivers have too many years and sometimes they won't achieve much, and then all of a sudden I have this year where everything fits together.
For 2014, Ed teamed with single-seater juggernaut Carlin for the FIA Formula 3 Championship, where things started off well.
I was on the podium a few times, and I was top of the Carlin drivers at the beginning until the 3rd round where I broke my back in France. It was the first time that the racing had been taken away from me. So it was a difficult experience, and all you wanted to do was get back in the car as quickly as possible.
And quick it was. Just 2.5 months later, Ed was back in the F3 car at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria. And despite missing 12 races to injury, finished 13th in the championship. A change of direction, however, was in store for 2015.
We heard about Carlin doing Indy Lights, and we're really interested straight away because in America it seems it's not more rewarding. If you do a good job, you have a much higher chance of making it to IndyCar. I want to learn as much as possible. The tracks are quite a bit different. It's quite similar to the UK tracks, actually. If you make mistakes, a bit like Barber here, you'll most likely not be in a good position. But no, I'm really enjoying it, and for me, this is the best place to be.
Drivers are strapped in. Let's head now trackside.
All right, Long Beach race fans, it's time for those most famous words in all of sports. Here's special guest of Allied Building Products, Ricky Gutierrez, to give the command.
On behalf of everyone at Allied Building Products, drivers, start your Mazda engines.
We have a pair of onboards for this event today, and we start with the Mazda onboard for Spencer Pigot, who's going to have a great view today. Starting on the outside of the front row, we see to his left the pole sitter, Jack Harvey. And then also a little further back, we'll be able to see, unfortunately for Shelby Blackstock, most of the field. He's going to start in the 12th position, the 25-year-old driver from Nashville and Cornelius, North Carolina, for Andretti Autosport. The cars are rolling away. We are just about ready to go from Long Beach. Stay with us. Cooper Tires and Indy Lights coming up next on NBCSN. It's the Grand Prix of Long Beach presented by Allied Building Products. Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires. The Verizon IndyCar Series is coming up next with Anders Krohn and Katie Hargett. I'm Kevin Lee. Let's look at how they are going to line up. 12 cars here this weekend, and Jack Harvey wins his 5th pole. He's on the front row with Spencer Pigot, last year's Pro Mazda champion on the outside. Kyle Kaiser and Ed Jones, who swept the 2 races at St. Pete in row number 2. Kaiser has had a nice start to his season. Row number 3 includes Felix Sorrellis and young R.C. Enerson. Row number 4 is Scott Anderson and Juan Piedrahita. The 5th row is Matt Brabham and Max Chilton. He had some problems. Only got 6 laps in qualifying, contact with the wall, so he's fast starting from the back. And then the final row is Ethan Ringel and Shelby Blackstock. Let's find out keys to this race. Now it's time for Anders Insider.
Well, it certainly looks like Ed Jones's domination has been brought to an end here, certainly in qualifying, so it'll be interesting to see if he can come back here. And just looking at all the long straightaways here at Long Beach, the push-to-pass feature is going to be vital on how you use it. 3 seconds a lap of this push-to-pass is being given to you. And finally, it's such a tough track. There's concrete walls all over. Long Beach is a game of attrition. Who will last till the end?
Well, it's always beautiful in Southern California. It's never rained in the 41 years on race day of the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, and it's not going to rain today. It is perfect. in the early part of the day. A little on the cooler, but it feels awfully comfortable, and we'll see a high today somewhere in the low 70s. 40 laps or 60 minutes, 11 turns, 1.968 mile course. This is the final corner. Turn number 11, the hairpin leading onto Shoreline. They will start to get a line 2 by 2. Harvey and Piggott, Kaiser and Jones, Sorrellis and Ederson. Green flag, and it's on at Long Beach. Who will win the race down to turn number 1? Piggott had the early advantage, trying to get there from the outside. They're still side by side heading down Shoreline. A little bump from behind from Kaiser maybe, and Kaiser gets up into the back of Harvey, and they're both going into the wall. First and third into the wall.
Unbelievable. I cannot believe this. Jack Harvey and Kyle Kaiser, they were going to be a big factor in this race, and they are out. This is going to bring out a full course caution, obviously, but I believe this has fallen right into the hands of Felix Sorrellis, who now takes the lead. Wow, I did not expect that from Kyle Kaiser. He's usually a very, very smart young racer, and great shame there for certainly for Jack Harvey as well and his championship hopes.
I can't recall the last time I saw a crash that was simply someone rear-ending the other. Were they fully into the brake zone when they made contact?
It could be a little situation where Jack Harvey just broke a little bit early because he thought he had the position, and Kyle Kaiser being caught out just a little bit. You can see they're offline, so there's no rubber on that side of the track, so it's so easy to lock the wheels. And also he's right behind Jack Harvey, so there's a lot of turbulent air right there. So a very easy thing to do, but man, what a shame to see so early in the race.
And Spencer Piggott was also a loser in that. Now, he's a big winner, that his race still continues, but he's just simply trying to stay unscathed, and he loses several positions.
That was a great job from Spencer, though, avoiding that, because it's so easy to just pay full attention to the crash happening. And oh, Juan Peter Hida, he spins it, and that just shows you how much power these Mazda engines have. On cold tires, it's so easy to spin the wheels and spin the car around, so certainly understandable what happened there.
Ricardo Yukos, the team owner for Yukos Racing. Spencer Piggott's car owner, and also Kyle Kaiser's. So two of the contenders out in the early going, and certainly Jack Harvey is one of the championship favorites. Now he's going to head back to the pits and see if there's anything that they can do.
The only good thing Jack Harvey has going for him right now is the fact that Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports is one of the best crews in the business, so they're going to hustle here to get a new rear wing on and try and prevent him from going a lap down here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a partial repair to the car, send him back out, then send him back into pit lane so that they don't go a lap down. Now, Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports, they won the Indy Lights Championship 7 times, and that's for good reason. So these guys are the best in the business.
Hoping there's no damage to the gearbox or anything else. You're hoping that it's just simply the rear wing suspension. Can you see any issues?
It certainly looks like it's only rear wing, so they could be really lucky here, but it definitely is damaged.
So Jack Harvey, who tied for the championship last year and only lost out on a second tiebreaker, is not going to be able to win this race. He's trying to score some points. Early contact in the first corner. Welcome back to Long Beach Indy Lights. Restart. We are green. And Ed Jones gets the very early jump on Felix Sorrellis there, heading down into turn number 1. Jones, who started in 4th position, already is back up to the front. Sorrellis is right behind him. Spencer Piggott fell back to 5th after starting in the 2nd position, avoiding the contact in turn number 1 between Kyle Kaiser and Jack Harvey.
Yeah, this really switched things up here with the crash there in turn 1. And Felix Sorrellis side by side with Ed Jones there. Not sure what happened at the start, but Felix is quick on this opening lap. Very, very quick.
That's an impressive comeback by Sorrellis. Can't get him right there, but he is still right on the tail of Ed Jones. R.C. Ederson has moved up to 3rd position.
Very impressive for that young gentleman. He qualified 6th in the qualifier yesterday. Did a really good job. He's being chased hard, though, by his teammate, Scott Anderson, who's also quick on this opening lap.
Look at Sorrellis trying to go around the outside of Jones. Side by side, Jones is not going to give it up, and he maintains the position.
Side by side into turn 8 around the outside. I've never seen that move attempted, but he almost was able to pull that off. Just showing the amount of pressure he's putting on Ed Jones right now, because he probably knows that Ed Jones, once he gets his tires up to temp, is going to be a little bit quicker. So he's really got to push hard now to try and get Ed Jones.
Out of 11, Jones was able to gap a little bit. We'll watch this, and while we do that, we'll check in with Katie Hargan.
Kyle Kaiser started third before crashing into Jack Harvey. You went over the rear of Jack Harvey. Kyle, what happened going into that corner?
It was a pure misjudgment on my part. I mean, it's my responsibility as the car behind not to run into the car in front of me. I was anticipating he'd roll more speed through the first corner. We were halfway through the brake zone already, and he continued slowing down. It's my fault. I feel bad. It took both of us out and probably made a big mistake. I have to apologize to him and my teammate. I think I messed up his race as well. It was a rookie mistake, and I'll be sure to clean it up for next weekend.
You told me you had ran plenty of simulator laps here on the streets of Long Beach. Were those playing through your head on that start?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really simulate race situations, but still, it's my responsibility not to do that. I've done race starts before. It was my mistake. But I know we had a great race car. We should have just gotten through the first corner clean. I know we would have been strong throughout the race, especially towards the end. So I feel bad for the team because they've done a lot of work this weekend and put us in a good position. So I just feel really bad for everybody involved.
All right, Kevin Anders, Kyle Kaiser, done for today's race.
And stepping up and taking full responsibility. He's just 19 years old, and there's an issue for Shelby Blackstoff. He's in the runoff, and we have a local yellow. Kaiser had a good weekend at St. Pete, finished 5th in both races, and I know he wanted to do well here. He's a native of California.
Yeah, and I already had a lot of respect for the guy, but my respect level for him just went up 1,000 points there. Owning up to a mistake like that is massive for a young gentleman like that, and a lot of respect to him right now. But obviously right now focusing on the leaders here, Ed Jones is pushing hard, but Felix Morales has the pace right now, and this is really showing you big strength there from him and his team, Bilardi Auto Racing. I mean, they've worked really hard from St. Pete, where they were a little bit off the pace, and right now they're chasing the guy that was dominating that weekend. So great comeback from those guys.
Sorales made contact on lap 2 with Max Chilton in the first race, and then finished 8th in race number 2, qualified 7th and 8th. He's just 22 years old, from Puerto Rico. Now lives in the Atlanta area. And he's off to a good start. A little further back, you look at R.C. Enerson, also having a good start. The 18-year-old from Florida started 9th in both races last week. And there's Jack Harvey. He is 5 laps down, so he's getting back on. And it's important, Anders, that he does, even if he doesn't improve his position, in Indy Lights, you need to go halfway.
Yeah, and it's so impressive here. It only took them 5 laps to repair the rear end of that car. Very impressive from Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports. But you're right, he has to finish half the race here to get solid points here towards the championship. And we know he's going to be a contender for this championship. And this is certainly not the way he wanted to start this race from pole position. But, you know, he's trying his best, and he's going to try and make up for the lost time.
To receive even 11th place points, he must finish at least half the race. Otherwise, it's just 1 point for participation. The Mazda on board with Spencer Piggott now.
Have a look at this Soul Red Mazda right here. He's trying to chase down Scott Anderson, and it's so tough on these opening laps. Just look at how much speed he's trying to carry through those corners. So tough to know where the limit of the car is on these opening laps on cold tires when you're right behind another car in turbulent air. He's looking for a move there on the inside into turn 8. Can't quite put that together, but he's putting some pressure on Scott Anderson, and he has been a little quicker than Scott Anderson all weekend long, so provided he saves his push to passes for the right time, he should be able to get past.
Up front, there's Ed Jones. We thought we might see something a little bit different with Jones starting back and forth, but circumstances have allowed him to get right back up to the front in the very early stages, but he is not running away with this one like he did at St. Pete. Felix Morales has been within a few car lengths throughout this entire stint.
But let's have a look at R.C. Enerson now. It's really looking like he's coming into his stride here, starting to pull away a little bit from Scott Anderson. So he is certainly coming into his own here in the early parts of this race.
That's 3rd, 4th, and 5th right there, separated by less than 3/4 of a second. And Piggott, the 3rd in line, has been the fastest all weekend, but you really have to pick your spots here to pass. Matt Brabham is off. Maybe a gearbox issue is what we're hearing, and Matty Brabham was on another 1 weekend situation. For more, let's check in with Katie.
Yeah, Matthew Brabham coming over the radio telling his crew that he couldn't switch up to 5th gear. He was stuck in 4th gear, so looking like it may be a gearbox issue for Matthew Brabham as he climbs out of the number 83 car. This is a one-off race for him. He has a local sponsor, Stallrex Construction. They've had a long history with Andretti Racing, but once again, Matthew Brabham climbing out of his car.
He got the opportunity to race at St. Pete. Didn't go as well as he would hope. Much better in race number 2. And as Katie mentioned, nothing is guaranteed for Matt Brabham moving forward, hoping that sponsorship will materialize, and we'll see him next weekend at Barber as well. The Mazda on board with Spencer Pigot. He's picked up a spot and got to 4th position, and let's take a look at how that happened.
Just so late on the brakes there into turn 8, and Scott Anderson didn't stand a chance there. Now it'll be interesting to see how long is it going to take before he can catch up to R.C. Enerson. Look at that move there, late on the brakes.
Whoa.
A lot of bumps into turn 8, rolling that speed through the corner. Very impressive pass, and he is on a charge right now. Look, he's already pulled out a 10-car length advantage on Scott Anderson, and his next victim is R.C. Enerson. Let's see how long it'll take him.
Good awareness, too, by Scott Anderson to make sure he didn't end both of their races. Ed Jones is in front. Felix Sorrellis is chasing. Still in the early going on the streets of Long Beach. Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires. Getting close to the halfway point here at Long Beach for Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires. And the Grand Prix of Long Beach presented by Allied Building Products. And coming up after us, it's the Verizon IndyCar Series. While we are away, a pass for third. Spencer Pigot, Anders.
Spencer Pigot is on the move. He's been setting fastest lap after fastest lap. He is the fastest car in the field right now, getting by R.C. Enerson, who is doing a great job so far. But Spencer Pigot is on the move, and now he's trying to chase down Felix Sorrellis. He is about 5/10 quicker than anyone else in the field right now.
It's Ed Jones, Felix Sorrellis, Spencer Pigot, R.C. Enerson, Max Chilton, the top 5. Pigot started 2nd, but fell back to 5th after contact in the early going between the 1st and 3rd place qualifiers. It's been a rough day for Shelby Blackstock. There's his onboard sitting on pit lane. Katie, what's going on?
I talked to Shelby Blackstock yesterday, and I asked him what was going on with the car. He said, we're just throwing huge changes at it. They've been searching for grip all weekend and just can't seem to find it. He said they're going to use today as a test session as we see him on pit lane, maybe making some changes to that starstruck car.
He's in 9th position and is in danger of losing another spot because Jack Harvey has been 3 laps down, but he's back on the track trying to score some points. Back up front now with Ed Jones, and Felix Sorrellis has been chasing him. He's made a couple of tries out of it. It changes every couple of laps, and the gap widens, the gap closes up.
Yeah, it really does, and I'm wondering if these guys are playing a little bit with their push to pass. So basically, you can save up 3 seconds every single lap, and you can save up to 20 seconds overall push to pass, which gives you an additional 50 horsepower. You can use this at any point in time you want on the straightaways, but I'm wondering if these guys are playing with this. Maybe Felix is trying to save those up a little bit to go for a charge later in the race. So we don't quite know this yet, but that could certainly be one of the factors here.
Ed Jones in front right now as we come closer to the midpoint of this 42-lap event at Long Beach with Anders Krohn and Katie Hargett. I'm Kevin Lee. Joining us in the booth now is Joel Sebastianelli. One of the great things about the Mazda Road to Indy is they try to find as many ways as they can to help mentor, nurture, and promote these young drivers. And one of those opportunities is RoadToIndy.tv, and Joel is the co-host of RoadToIndy.tv. But his story is a unique one because he's still a college student and won a contest essentially to get to travel and get on-the-job experience all season with the Mazda Road to Indy. Joel, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be up here, and I'm living the dream, too. They're living a dream behind the wheel, and I'm living a dream up here. It was a pretty fun deal. Started my senior year at the University of Florida, but I've always loved racing. Going back to, the 99 Indy 500. I remember following Robbie Gordon into that, and the battle with him, Kenny Brett coming out on top, everything about that. It was the most formative sports experience of my entire life. So when I heard about this, I knew it was something that I had to apply to. I needed to audition, get my name out there, and it ended up working out. It went down to a fan vote. They narrowed it down to 5 of us and the Indy fans, and with the great help of support from so many people, ended up pulling it off. And so to be here to share this passion with other people, we have such a great sport, great parity, everything about the Road to Indy ladder and IndyCar, some of the best racing in the world. So whenever I hear anybody at any fan level, whether it's a hardcore fan or a casual fan, to hear them say that they love what we're doing and they love this sport. To be a part of it, it's really awesome.
We're keeping an eye on Spencer Pigot, who is challenging Sorales now for second position. We're on the Moz to onboard with Pigot. Tell us about Road to Indy TV. What kind of features do we find there?
Well, there are a couple of different features. First of all, there's the Road to Indy app that you can download on Android or on an Apple phone. And there's also the website. Now, the website's purpose is mainly to educate. You can get a lot of results there. You can find out information about the series. But the app and the TV show are different. That's all about access. That's about connecting fans wherever you are. So on the app, you can find live timing and scoring. You can listen to live audio from the radio broadcasts. You can get all of that stuff, and you can also see the TV show, which is what we're working on. Myself, JP Mentorol, Travis Ernest, who does a great job filming everything, and everybody with the Pro Racing Group. You can get highlights, driver and team profiles, tours of the city. A lot of great stuff with this TV show. Competitions on and off the track. It's about lifting up the visor, because as I'm sure you can attest to, Anders, fans may know your name, but underneath the helmet, there's really awesome personalities out there, and that's what we want to show.
And speaking of awesome personalities, Jack Harvey and Juan Piedrahita in the wall as we saw Spencer Pigot make yet another move. Talk about a personality behind the helmet, but man, this was unexpected.
So more problems for Jack Harvey. The day goes from bad to worse. He has not completed half of the laps of this race yet. He's completed 15 of the scheduled 42. If enough cautions come in, it would go to the time limit of 60. And Juan Piedrahita also involved, so we go full course caution. And let's take a look at it.
Big hit there, big hit. Turn 7 is such a tough corner. You typically see a lot of crashes both in the Indy Lights and in the Verizon IndyCar series right there. And Jack Harvey just tried to roll a bit too much speed across the middle of the corner, and Juan sort of got tricked into doing that. So very easy corner to do that in, but that is not what Jack Harvey wanted for his championship run.
So Piedrahita is going to drive away. Harvey is going to climb out, so it looks like he'll score just 1 point here today. Caution, Ed Jones is in front on the streets of Long Beach. Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires on NBCSN. The Verizon IndyCar Series is coming up next here at Long Beach, but it's heating up in Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires. Restart coming with 23 of 42 complete. Ed Jones, Spencer Pigot right behind him. Pigot has been the fastest of the race. Let's see what he has for Jones here on the restart. Sorales in third, then it's Ederson, Chilton, Anderson, and Ringel.
Such a long run down to turn 1 here. Let's see if Spencer can do anything. It doesn't look like it.
Jones in the blue car up front from Carlin Racing. Holds on to the position as they go through 2 and 3 in the Fountain Complex. But 1, 2, 3 are packed up together a little further back to 4th place. R.C. Ederson. And then Max Chilton from Carlin has been off the pace today, back in 5th, and he was not in contention before this recent yellow. We'll watch Ed Jones and Spencer Pigot. Let's go down now to Katie Hargan.
Jack Harvey out of today's race after starting on the pole. Jack, what happened there with Juan?
I tried to overtake him. I locked up and hit the fence.
How disappointing is it after starting on the pole? You said you weren't showing all your cards in practice, and then you snagged that pole there right at the end. How disappointing is it to be out of today's race?
Well, I was fast throughout all of qualifying yesterday. I was quickest on the first run. I didn't have a great second set of tyres. My third one was good. I just needed traffic like we've all spoke about. I got hit in turn 1, which pretty much ended our race from there. The team did a good job to even get the car back out. And then I was pushing for fastest lap, and I was much quicker than Juan. He was defending a little bit, but we really didn't need to. And anyway, because he was doing that, kind of forced me into making a move I didn't want to make, and I had to get past him to continue to get the fastest lap. And in the end, it was obviously a disastrous day, but 2 races in Barber to make up for it.
All right, Kevin and Anders, Jack Harvey, one of the Indy Lights veterans after winning 4 of the last 5 races in 2014.
And probably the favorite for the championship, certainly one of the favorites. We knew Carlin was going to be strong coming into the season, but second in the championship coming in, he's going to lose valuable points here today. Ed Jones won the first 2 at St. Pete, still in front. Spencer Pigot finished on the podium in both races, and just a little while ago, he made a move to get up to second. Let's take a look at how that got done, getting around Felix Sorrells. Take us through it, Anders.
And he's done every single move so far this race in turn 8. He's just super late on the brakes. Sorrells tries again to go around the outside there. So Felix clearly full of commitment, but Spencer has just been flawless all weekend long. He was quick in practice, almost got the pole position in qualifying, and today has just been on fire in the race, and he's clearly showing why he's the reigning Pro Mazda champion and why that $750,000 check to move up to Indy Lights has been very well deserved.
And Spencer Pigot has been living in the Orlando area, but he's got family out here too. He was born in nearby Pasadena. Was really looking forward to this opportunity. Whether you're from California or not, everybody loves getting an opportunity to race at Long Beach. We've been visiting here in the booth with Joel Sebastianelli from RoadToIndy.tv. Still a college student, but getting this fantastic opportunity to travel all season long with the Road to Indy and also IndyCar. So I'm assuming you're here basically to take my job as soon as you can, right?
Yes, eventually. Excellent. Although I would have to work with Anders, so perhaps there'll be a switch somewhere along the line. I could maybe relieve you with this guy, but yeah, wow. I mean, definitely awesome to be up here, having a lot of fun. And you know, like we said before, with Indy Lights, it's like a brand new era. You have a new team coming from overseas, from Europe, Carlin, who's performing right off the bat and forcing everybody to elevate their game. There's the new car, the Dallara IL-15, 450 horsepower, looks sleek, 50 horsepower push to pass. There's so many exciting things going on for this series right now that it's awesome to be a part of that and share that with people with Road to Indy TV.
Well, I've watched some of your work on the website and saw your demo for the contest. Very impressive. You have a bright future ahead of you. We look forward to seeing more on RoadToIndy.tv from you and the others, even like Anders.
Exactly.
Throughout the season. It's been a fun start to the season. Not only Indy Lights, but obviously also for Pro Mazda and USF 2000 as well. Starting to get to the nitty-gritty a little bit, and Anders, looks like we're heading down to an opportunity to see some mixing up because the front three are still working hard at it.
I think so, and I just saw a little onboard shot there from Spencer where it looked like he was adjusting his front bar, so he's clearly working that car, trying to get it to his liking right now. Because Ed Jones is starting to pull away a little bit. That is not what we saw. It seemed like Spencer, the longer and longer the tires came in and the hotter and hotter they got, the faster he got. So maybe it's just a situation where his tires take a little bit longer time to get up to temp, but Ed Jones right now is pulling out a bit of an advantage.
Well, speaking of Ed Jones, he got the lead early in this race. At the very start in turn 1, if you weren't with us, we had the third place starter, Kyle Kaiser, get into the back of the pole sitter, Jack Harvey, going into turn 1. That took both of them out. Then on the next restart, that's Ed Jones in the blue car in second, and Felix Sorrells, Anders, he just didn't go.
And we still have no answer as to what happened there. It must have been the fact that he hit the rev limiter and got caught in between gears or something like that, because otherwise he should have pulled away fairly easily there. He actually had a really good gap coming off the final corner. So that's a bit of a shame there for Felix, but he's obviously doing a great job here and currently en route to have his first Indy Lights podium ever.
It looks like everybody has caught up a little bit with Carlin, at least here at this venue. But this should be a similar setup to St. Petersburg. Nothing is exactly the same, but street course to street course.
Yeah, exactly. You have your bumps, you have your pavement changes from asphalt to concrete and so on forth, but the gap has certainly diminished a lot, and I spent quite a bit of time talking to Ricardo Juncos of Spencer Pigot's, he's Spencer Pigot's team owner here, and he told me that it's not a matter of Carlin having more money or more resources. It's just that the way they went about their business was a big eye-opener for them in St. Petersburg. So everyone have had to elevate their level, and certainly Juncos Racing have been on that case, and they've closed that gap right down.
I think everyone welcomes the competition, and everyone wants more cars. The more, the merrier, and there's a lot of conversation that we may see another car maybe as soon as next week, but certainly when we get to Indianapolis for both of the events there, we could be seeing more.
Yeah, and let's just talk about the diversity that these drivers are going through. Right now, they're on the street circuit. Next week, they're at Barber Motorsports Park, one of the most flowy and beautiful road courses in the country. And then we're going to go to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, both on the road course and the oval. So you have to be so diverse as a driver to succeed in this championship. And that's what surprised me so far with Ed Jones and how well he's adapted, because he hasn't done a lot of street circuits before, and this is very heavily biased towards that. So he's done a great job adapting, and obviously Spencer Pigot, he's driven a lot of street circuits before, but never Long Beach.
Spencer Pigot now has fallen back just a little bit, a car length or two. 0.8 of a second is the advantage for Ed Jones. Does anybody have anything for the Carlin racer? Stay tuned. This is NBCSN's coverage of Indy Lights. We're headed down the stretch for Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires. The Grand Prix of Long Beach presented by Allied Building Products. With Andrews Crone, Katie Harkin, I'm Kevin Lee. Up next, the Verizon IndyCar Series race. The Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach with Team Penske on the front row. Helio Castroneves and Juan Pablo Montoya should be fantastic, as it always is. That's coming up right after we're done, which is not far from now. 5 laps to go. Spencer Pigot, the Mazda on board. He has been chasing Ed Jones for the second half of this race. He'll catch up, get within a few feet in the hairpin, and then Jones will pull back away by 6 or 7 car lengths.
We've seen an absolutely stunning performance here by Spencer Pigot today, coming from all the way back in 5th, overtaking people in that crucial turn 8 every single time and just making his way through. And right now he's trying to chase down Ed Jones, and we saw in St. Petersburg just how perfectly polished Ed Jones is in his driving style, and he's proving it yet again, not making a single mistake under pressure. And it's going to take some work here for Spencer Pigot to get past Ed Jones.
It's time to award the Cooper Tires Everyday Performer, and the committee of 2 has decided that it is Spencer Pigot. Bad luck and trying to stay away from contact in the opening corner pushed him back from 2nd to 5th, but he's been consistently quick, and he's made the most impressive overtaking moves in this event.
He has indeed. He's done a great job, but honorable mention should, of course, also go to Max Chilton, who's moved up 5 spots and is doing a great job right now in 5th place.
For more on Pigot Pit Road, Katie Harkin.
Yeah, Spencer's team just came over the radio and said, just a few laps to go, Spencer, let's do this. Let's overtake Ed Jones. And Spencer says this is the best team he's ever worked with. It's the first time that he's stayed with the team, and he knows that consistency is going to be able to keep him up front after he won the 2014 Pro Mazda Championship with Juncos Racing.
That's a great point. Getting an opportunity doesn't happen very often up the ladder in any form of racing where you move from one step to the next with the same team.
Yeah, it's just a great tale, and really when we look at it here, these are 2 brand new teams to Indy Lights right here. Carlin and Juncos Racing both have taken to it so well, and Spencer Pigot has just made that transition with his team so well to Indy Lights and really proving his worth here right now as he's half a car width behind Ed Jones and putting on so much pressure.
He's within range right now. All it's going to take is a slight bobble, not even a big mistake, just a little miscue by Ed Jones, and Spencer Pigot is going to be ready to pounce, heading down the long straightaway on Shoreline now.
And all it comes down to now is who has saved the most amount of push to passes. Again, you get 3 seconds a lap, which gives you a 50 horsepower boost that you can use at any point in time, and you can save up to 20 seconds here. So hopefully Spencer Pigot's been smart about this and saved him for the very end of the race here so he can pounce and get that first spot.
He's cut into the gap just a little bit at the timeline, down to just a little over 3 tenths. Now he's fallen back again just a little bit. Obviously both guys are stronger in different portions of the course.
They are, and it's just so impressive seeing how hard they're having to work the steering wheel around this track. So many bumps here at Long Beach, so many undulations, so many potholes, and all these factors played into it. But these guys have just pushed so hard the entire race long, and as we see Felix Sorales back there, he's done a great job as well back in 3rd place.
Yeah, fantastic day for him after finishing 13th. You mentioned the crash in race 1 and 8th in race number 2.
And he came from doing European F3 action, so he's a very, very well-versed driver, and he's come into Indy Lights and been strong right off the bat with Bilardi Auto Racing, which obviously won the Indy Lights Championship last year with Gabby Chavez. So he's with a great group of people, and they've also learned this new car very, very quickly. And Felix has done a great job adapting to these types of tracks.
A little further back, about 8 or 9 seconds behind Sorales in 4th position, we're going to find R.C. Enerson. And wanted to mention him as we'll see him come into turn number 2 around the fountain. Now there he is in the number 7 black and red Lucas Oil car for Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports. This has been an impressive day for him because remember, he made the jump from USF 2000.
And let's talk about the ultimate contrast. Here you have an 18-year-old straight from USF 2000, the first step on the Mazda Road to Indy, and right behind him you have a guy that used to compete in F1, Max Chilton. So the contrast couldn't be any bigger, and it's very impressive to see how well R.C. Enerson has adapted to Indy Lights, and right now is doing a fantastic job there. And the thing about it is, I talked to his driver coach, Jonathan George. Every single session he's getting better. He's learning with that team. And having that Lucas Oil branding on the car is quite something, because that's been their championship winning car for 7 times.
Right behind Anderson in that blue car is Max Chilton, who spent the last 2 years with Borussia in Formula One. It was expected, as we see the white flag coming on now, and one more lap to navigate for our leader, Ed Jones. I think we expected a little bit more from Max Chilton. And yes, he had an issue with qualifying and started back in the pack 10 today, but he hasn't had the pace in this race.
He hasn't, which is really surprising, because he was so quick in practice. And the team manager of Carlin, Colin Hale, even said that he thought that he was going to be quicker than Ed Jones in qualifying. So I'm a little baffled as to why he hasn't really had the pace here in the race. But of course, it's very hard when you're behind people, you're in turbulent air. It takes away a little bit of grip. But right now, obviously, we need to focus here on Ed Jones and Spencer Pigot. And Spencer Pigot now coming up into turn 7. He has to line up for the pass right here. This is going to be his final chance. He needs to be on the push to pass right now, and he's got a big moment. And that is going to give the race to Ed Jones here.
Jones has not had the fastest pace today. The 3rd quickest lap, but he's run up front much of the way. Felix Sorrells actually has the fastest lap. Spencer Pigot 2nd quick, both under 1:13. Then it's Jones, Chilton, and Anderson. But most importantly, around the final hairpin, turn number 11, Ed Jones is pulling in front of Spencer Pigot. 2 car lengths is the advantage. Ed Jones has gone 3 for 3 in 2015. He's won on the streets of Long Beach in Indy Lights.
Unbelievable effort by the entire Carlin crew there. He lucked out on the start, but from there he was picture perfect. Never put a foot wrong, and he has been amazing all race long. But also Spencer Pigot, wow, what a race. He just came from the back and soared through the field, and that was such an impressive showing for him as well.
Pigot podiums in all 3 races, moves up a step to 2nd this time, and Felix Sorrells finishes in 3rd. Full leaderboard, and we'll hear from our winner when we come back to the streets of Long Beach on NBCSN. It's been another picture-perfect weekend in Southern California at Long Beach. The Verizon IndyCar Series and the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach is coming up next here on NBCSN. We've seen a pretty good one here in Indy Lights, presented by Cooper Tires. Here's your final rundown. Ed Jones has won all 3 races of the 2015 season. Spencer Pigot moves up a spot in the podium to finish 2nd. Felix Sorrells gets his first trip to the podium this season. Let's hear now from the winner to victory lane. Here's Katie Hargett.
Ed Jones now joins IndyCar names like James Hinchcliffe, Elio Castroneves, and Scott Dixon. It's his 3rd win of the season. Ed, you led all but 2 laps here on the streets of Long Beach. Walk me through that pass for the lead.
Yeah, it was an amazing start for us. Well, off the line it wasn't so good, but then the others made a few mistakes, and that gave me the opportunity to go at the inside, so we were 2nd after the first corner. And then it was, I think Felix hit the limiter on the start, on the restart, so I was able to just drive past him. But then we had quite a good fight on the cold tyres, and so it was quite difficult to do that. But then for the rest of the race, I had Spencer push me really hard, and it was difficult not to make a mistake, especially around this circuit.
All right, so and Ed Jones now leads the points by just 31 over Spencer Pigot. Kevin and Anders?
Spencer Pigot does make up some ground because of Jack Harvey's issues from today, but right now Ed Jones is in charge of this championship. Anders, but it's still very early days.
But just listening to Ed Jones there, he's such a humble young man, considering he's won all the races so far this year, and he does have a bit of a commanding lead in the championship right now. Spencer Pigot, though, wow, what a job today.
Max Chilton, Felix Sorrells, and R.C. Anderson also make big jumps in the championship. Tough day for Jack Harvey. He goes from 2nd to a tie for 6th. And next we head up to Barber Motorsports Park, Birmingham, Alabama, where the drivers are all familiar with. Just about everybody has tested there. That should be fantastic. Very fast and technical racing.
Yet another amazing facility we're going to, from this amazing street circuit to one of the best road courses in the country. I can't wait to see, and it'll be so interesting to see who's going to be fighting there.
Well, this was fun. Always love coming to Long Beach. We saw a good one here today in Indy Lights, but there is much more to come. The main event is coming up in just a moment. Team Penske on the front row. The Hondas have made up some ground this weekend. What will the Chevys have to combat them? We're going to find out coming up in just a moment. Carlin Racing wins again in Indy Lights, presented by Cooper Tires. Stay with us here on NBCSN, because coming up next, it is the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires. Back in action next week from Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama. Watch it here on NBCSN Monday morning. Very late Sunday night on the West Coast, 2 o'clock Eastern Monday morning. For more information on IndyCar, go to NBCSports.com. Congratulations to Ed Jones.